Hi everybody, my name is Henry Li from blueheronarts.com. Today we have an art lesson on the subject matter of landscape painting. The topic is what we call the X-cut wrinkle. In Chinese, 虎皮. This character means X, and this second character means cut, what we call the twin lines, texture lines, if you recall. And now we are talking about the surface texture, or the textured wrinkle on the surface of the rock. Here we have a teaching book based on an ancient masterpiece called a masterpiece done by Li Tang in the Song Dynasty. So first of all, let's take a look at this masterpiece. This picture, this painting is done on silk, and the dimension is 188 centimeter by 139 centimeter. It's about 6 feet tall and 4 feet wide, approximately. It's a very large painting, you can see. So we're going to learn from some of the details or the elements from this masterpiece. So this painting is done on silk originally. We can use like a mulberry paper or semi-sized strand to do it. So not too absorbent paper is preferred. And use either the wolf stiff hair brush or Bezier or sable brush, or use synthetic brush is fine. So I'm going to use my water brush to do some demo on this magic cloth, or we call it the practice disappearing cloth, like you saw earlier. We start with the outline of the rock or the contour. At this step, the line is drawn with the brush held at a perpendicular position to the paper. So you can you use only the tip to draw this. But even at this step, you need to start the line with a heavy start and a light ending, like here. So you start heavy and end in a tail, kind of. So we call it the nail head and the tail. Something like that. This for the contour. Also, look at this diagram. There's an idea of idea completes with absence of stroke, which means when you draw a contour line or outline, you need to leave breaks in between strokes, let the qi or the spirit travel. So technically, you leave room for the texture shading or the wrinkle the twin wrinkles to come, the surface wrinkle to complement the contour. So let me illustrate that. So you can draw the rock not in a continuous line, but leave some breaks like this. So you leave space between the strokes. And the second type of stroke is our focus today. This is the X-cut stroke. It comes in an array of quick kind of shading strokes. It's always start like heavy, start heavy and end with a pouring, very quick pouring and lifting movement. So you get a heavy start and a light end. You can see this magic cloth gets dry pretty fast. So you can practice this move like that. Remember that not all the strokes should be the same or parallel on the real painting. So you need to vary the size and the directions sometimes. Here are some ideas. There are two different sizes of X-cut strokes. The small X-cut, you only use the front or the tip of the brush. So like this, and you can see in the picture would look like this. You can complement two directions strokes. You know, one up, one down, downstroke, upstroke, or left and right in a horizontal horizontal surface. You can go vertical, but if you only use the tip, this is small, and versus the large X-cut, you use the whole side of the brush, so you get the larger stroke from tip to heel of the brush, or touch the paper. Okay, so this group here, you can see it's called the large X-cut. Here are more examples of X-cut strokes. Here's the masterpiece on the left, and this is the first step in the diagram showing you the bone strokes, we call it, before you wash or do this light ink shading. This is the contour or the outline. This divides the rock into dimensions, not complete contour, but some definition, some division. I mentioned the character like this. You always divide a dimension into three. A rock surface into three dimensions, as in Chinese character heel suggests. And this page showing you the two steps. First, using dry brush stroke to do the X-cut strokes, and then use light ink to shade to enhance it. Not use wet wash usually, just dry shading. Okay, here are more examples of the detail from the masterpiece. You can see this technique is useful for painting rocks with sharp corners or square shape. So it's very hard rock versus the earthy hill in the southern China. This typically is a North China landscape, North Chinese landscape. This technique is also known as the Northern School of Chinese painting. So you have more rocky mountains in North China with less vegetation, no grass, no soil, bare rocks. Okay, this is a combination of small and large X-cut strokes in the foreground, so become more sophisticated with line, the short and long, different wrinkle or X-cut surface wrinkle, and some little dots also. That gives you some detail on the ground surface in the foreground. You can see the interplay of two different directions. Sometimes from top down, some from bottom up. So you need to organize to derive some order from chaos. That's the idea. So you can do the shading and outline in one process. So you outline and then when the brush gets drier, just do the shading. So you can outline and the shading in one single process. More examples from the masterpiece. Here are some water stream. So make distinctive strokes between the rock and the water. So the water strokes are more flow, cursive, and the rock is heavier with turned, hard, sharp corners. And here we have examples of the ink usage, or the water usage, if you will. So we always start the surface shading with heavy start and light ending. So you can see the flying white. The flying white is required for this technique. You can see the ground, the paper shows between the brush strokes. That's called the flying white. When you move the brush quick enough, you'll see that. And the brush gets dry, you see. So it's heavy start, quick lift. Press and lift right away. That's the X cut strokes. And here, this is the illustration of wetting wet. In this example, you do the light part in water, and then you apply dark ink to break it, because I cannot do the ink on this magic cross. I'll do the demo later. This is for the remote mountain. And this is an illustration of the accumulate ink, which means you do one layer of textured wrinkles. In this case, the dark one comes first, and then you apply light stroke in addition to the dark to accumulate. After the first layer dries, you can do more than 2 layers, if you will. Here are some details of the remote waterfall in the remote ground. You can see the source of water in a landscape is very important to depict. If you have a stream down the hills, you should always have the waterfall hanging on top of the mountain and to indicate the source of water in the Chinese landscape composition. And the water is left, carefully saved the background of the paper. So don't use white. Here's the complete picture we saw earlier. And the rest of the booklet talked about the trees, the pine trees, in the similar kind of stroke that we used on the rock contour to paint the trunk, and then add texture and a kind of like a scale of a dragon on the trunk. And in the picture, the title is the pine in winds. So you need to have the idea, the image, mental image of wind when you paint pine needles, indicate the direction of wind. So it's very important to keep in mind the pine is in the wind, so have some movement. This is the remote ground pine tree. You use horizontal strokes in the same kind of style, like the nail head and the tail, heavy start and the pointed end. Some overlappings to keep it in mind on the whole shape. So it's basically a Z-shape fractal image. Okay. And finally, the water, we mentioned the source and the river or the stream in the bottom of the picture. Well, now I'll do a small demo on the rice paper. This is a picture on shikishi board based on the masterpiece that we saw earlier. It's in color, very light color. This is a halfway done exercise on double shuan paper. I find the style, the X-cut painting style, not very easy to do on the absorbent single shuan. So you use a thicker shuan may help. And also you can use mulberry paper, or this paper is called hemp or ma paper. It's the best for this kind of landscape painting. Let me show you.